If you don't know what an LMIA is, then you will after this presentation from Jennifer Roggemann, who's an immigration lawyer at Jennifer Roggemann Immigration Law Office. She came to Canada from South Korea at grade 11, not age 11, and decided she wanted to become a lawyer to help those who couldn't speak for themselves. Her faith in Jesus motivates her to serve clients wholeheartedly, and she has helped hundreds of people find a new home in Canada. What a great welcome to Jennifer. Thank you for being with us.
Good morning. Thank you for the warm welcome. So I don't have a proper presentation because I speak faster than presentation. So I'll just talk about the temporary foreign worker program and the LMAI labor market impact assessment. A lot of times when I talking to employers, first, nobody knows what this is. And number two, they all want worker fast. So I just want to let you know, this is not a fast process. You need to be patient. You need to follow the rules, and you need to do it right. So first of all, what is LMIA, or Labor Market Impact Assessment? It is a permission from federal government that Canadian employer may hire a foreign worker in Canada. Now, it sounds really horrible and weird, but it works. So temporary foreign worker is a program that Canadian employers use to temporarily bring foreign worker to Canada. Now, once they come to Canada, you can have a different option to make them permanent resident in Canada. But in other words, that this is a temporary program. I remember some of the Service Canada people that I spoke with, that they basically says, this should be your last resort. I dare to dispute a bit in light of the last 2 years, just because we have a significant lack of the available people to start the work for our industry. So I think as a slowly, this is going to be a major part in hiring process for a Canadian employer. Just give you an idea right now, I think Immigration Canada just posted their update on the immigration level plan, as well as some of the statistics. One thing I can tell you is right now, 100% of our labor increase is from immigration, 100%. And well, I am supposed to talk about a student labor as well. Currently, last 2021, from January till November, 11 months, Immigration Canada issued 127,000 postgraduate work permit for international students already in Canada. That is 12,000 people every month is available for work for Canadian industry without getting the labor market impact assessment. So just to give you an idea as a market we're looking at. So apparently I need to talk about the international student as well. So let me just jump in right there. International students are people who's coming to Canada on a study permit allowance, and they usually go to the designated institution that they go for their education. Once they start registered and they're going to school, they may work for a Canadian employer up to 20 hours per week, any job, any wage, any whatever, as long as it's legal, of course. And during the summertime, they can work for full time. Now, that's one of the biggest advantage they're gonna have. Then after they graduate, then they can get a 3-year work permit, which is called the postgraduate work permit. They can work for Canadian employers. Again, any job, any employer, any location, any wages. So this is a huge area of new employees that you may wish to reach out to. So especially the cities that have universities or colleges like Kitchener, where I am, European Law University, University of Waterloo, College, London, Western, and Fanshawe. These are just the example of the cities that they're going to have a really good access. Of course, Hamilton has a Master University as well. Now, some people ask us, LMAI is required, because again, you need the employer right now or yesterday. So if you're going to go through the LMAI, it does take time. Yes, you can get the foreign employee without labor market impact assessment, but it has to meet some requirements. So for example, if you have an American worker who's in a professional capacity like engineer, yes, that person, we can put it together, the package, come to the Niagara Falls and get the work permit literally matter of 2 weeks, which is a great program. But not everybody is American, not everybody is engineer. So it's really depending on what kind of job we are talking about or what kind of industry you're looking at. Now let's talk about the LMAIs a little more in detail. So what as a Canadian employer, what do you have to show to receive this decision? Basically, there's a three. So one is a job has to be real. So what that means is that you really have a real need for this job. So if you hire somebody because he happened to be, your wife's cousin's next door neighbor, not work. So it's a lot of times, almost 99% of times, every employer who comes to talk to us, they need the genuine need for this job. Second, that the work condition has to be comparable to Canadian. So, for example, if you're paying this person $22, but Canadian you're paying $25, there's a $3 gap. Not going to happen. And this is really important. What Christine talked about just before. Job bank will give you what is right wages for the right job in the right region. So if some of the people we're gonna have, some of the issues that we had was, Jennifer, I have this job. We already have Canadian employee working at this particular job, but we don't pay what I'm required to pay for foreign worker. So what happens is sometimes you have to increase the wage for everybody, meet their requirements sometimes. Now, again, the first two requirements, a lot of employers, almost 99% have no problem getting through. But the problem is that the third requirement. Third requirement is a Canadian employee has to show they made their best effort to recruit Canadian employee first before they go out and finding foreign worker. So I think this is the #1 question almost every employer asks me, how do I prove this? It's through your recruitment process. Recruitment process, it has to be done right, has to be done diligently. You have to be really detailed in recording everything you have done. As Christina showed, the job bank is a mandatory recruitment tool. You have to be registered as an employer. You have to put your job posting at all time. From the day you start until the day you receive decision from the Service Canada for your LMAI decision, you have to be registered. Currently, the high and low wage LMAI, you're looking at 62 business days, roughly 3 months. So here's a technology problem. Job bank only allows for renewal of the once, which is 60 days. So what happened is basically 58th day, you have to repost everything. So make sure you're gonna be there for full 4 to 5 months. Why is it 4 to 5 months? Because you have to do the 30 days advertisement first, then you make an LMAI application. That process is 2 to 3 months, then you get a decision. So it's total time you have to be on job bank is approximately 4 to 5 months. So your HR department really have to work hard in terms of getting everything lined up and meticulous about the timing. Now that's the basic the mandatory requirement. However, you have to put 2 more. One is a national, one is a local. Again, all 3 places, job bank, national, and local, that's how it's separated. All of them has to be simultaneously for 30 days requirement. And after that, I usually ask the clients to keep it on for 3, but some people just put in a job bank, which is a minimum requirement. Now, there goes a little more complicated. If your job is if your salary for the worker is a less than $24.04, which is the median wage, cross-sector, cross-job in Ontario, that is considered a low-wage job. So low-wage job, that you need to put 2 more advertisement in total of 5. So 2 more is from the 4 underrepresented group in our society. So I didn't pick this one, okay? So this is the rule that we got. One is targeting youth. Second is to newcomers or immigrant, and people with a disability, and the indigenous people. So there's 4 categories. You need to pick 2 that relevant to your occupation. Then you have to post in total 5 of them simultaneously. Then you have to record what you have done with them. So when you do this, they're gonna send you a resume or whatever. And if you see anybody who you are interested, you do interview, go through the process. You have to basically report to Service Canada or Employment Standard. Yes, this is standard. Sorry, I always screw up the acronym because we changed it so many times. You have to report to them what you have done. So, for example, we had a client who had who posted a job site, and it was a minimum wage at the time. So we had a 230 potential resumes that we received. Half of them were applied from outside of Canada. So we don't have to deal with it because it's exactly the same as what the foreign worker you have to support in this. Then we have to eliminate all the people who's not qualified. So for example, we asked for the college degree, but they didn't have a college. We asked for a 2-year work experience, but they didn't have a work experience. Whatever the reason is, we go through it. There's about 20 people we asked for the interview, only 10 people show up. And out of 10 people, my client was so desperate, he gave job to all 10 people. Only 3 people showed up, and 2 days later, they all quit. So we put it all together and explained. We were successful in receiving the LMAI, the decision. Then, so once that's done, you're done with Service Canada. Almost, but almost done. So then with that, your decision, then your foreign worker needs to make a work permit at the Immigration Canada. So sometime employer does the whole work. Sometime employer basically give the LMAI decision to the worker. Hey, here is a decision with your name on. Please go ahead and make a work permit application. Let's say the person is in India, and that person making a work permit application online from India. Right now, India takes 52 weeks. So that is a 1 year to process a work permit. But that's average time. I usually anticipate between 4 to 5 months. But worker happened to be a citizen of Britain and living in Greece. That person actually can come to Canada as a visitor and come get the work permit at the Pearson Airport. So depending on who the worker is, depending on what kind of occupation, depending on the what's the timeline look like, you can navigate in the whole different ways. Usual recommendation I have for employer is that if you have done this before, great, but know what is what's changing right now. For example, National Occupation Classification, so we call it NOC code. National Occupation the classification was actually initially built for high school students who wants to go through post-secondary education. So they need to know, okay, you want to be a plumber, so what kind of study you have to do. So it was a little bit guided for the high school, but over the years we changed it, and the Immigration Canada use it, or the ESDC actually use it, Service Canada actually use it. Now, my understanding is, so it has every sector, every level of the work in each of the sector. So it's a little bit of a complicated chart, but in general, then as long as you know the job title and what is normally called in the, so for example, it can be a plumber, but it's a licensed plumber, or plumber assistant, for example, they can be 3 different job titles. You can narrow it down to the code. Just to let you know that the Service Canada is changing this job code. So my understanding is that they are just going through the first run right now, and newest brand new code is coming out in September 2022, which is a bit different than what we've been used to for the last 15 years. So stay tuned on that one. If you've never done the labor market impact assessment before, my recommendation is seek your professional assistant first. Get, like, for example, I do a lot of a consultation for a company for 1 hour with their HR department. I just go through a whole process just for that company. All their works that they're looking for, I just give them a guideline, and most HR department can actually execute what they need to execute. Now, let's say somebody walk into your, you want to hire this person, it looks wonderful, etc. And this person said, I'm a student. So, but you can ask more question about the citizenship, etc., because that's against the Human Rights Code. So a lot of times what my recommendation for the HR department is ask for the SIN number. When you ask for a SIN number, it started with digit 9. You know that person is not a Canadian citizen or permanent resident. So you can investigate, hey, I noticed that your SIN number started 9. Are you a student? Are you a worker? Make sure that whatever immigration status they have, do have their backup document as a part of their employee profile, because it is your responsibility as a Canadian employer to keep this information. Another thing is you have to make sure all the expiry date of these permit should be noted as well. Otherwise, if you have a worker who's not authorized to work in Canada, that creates a problem for worker as well as yourself as employer. In terms of getting in more foreign worker is going to be an impediment to you. I mean, we can go through the whole enforcement part, but I'm not going to go through that. Now, final comment is LMAI is almost like having income tax audit. So Once you have done the LMIA, you have made a promise to Service Canada certain kind of things for the foreign workers. So all your documents, you have to keep up to 6 years, and Service Canada has a right to come back to you and to review what you have done, what you promised that you have done, so that if it's not, that they're going to give you some enforcement action, and that you have to do some compliance review as well. So I usually ask a client, whatever you put in the labor market impact assessment application to hire foreign worker, make sure that's something you are willing to do. So for example, if you said, I'm going to support this worker with getting English, the English speaking the training session at the job site, when they come to look at the compliance review, you better have that somewhere, some in their employee profile, in the folder, or the poster you did it at the lunchroom. Whatever you have done to support this the worker with English training, you should have that. Realtors says all about when you're buying the piece of real estate is about location, location, location. When you're trying to do the immigration, or especially the LMIA, the temporary foreign worker, it's all about planning, 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 planning. Things are changing, and as a new immigration level plan announced yesterday, what I noticed is we are moving now. We are not looking for skilled workers from outside of Canada, immigrate to Canada directly as immigrant. What Immigration Canada trends is going through is, we want people who are student, temporary workers supported by Canadian employer here in Canada. We want to convert them to permanent resident. That's the trends where we are going. Therefore, I think if you want to get more employees from outside of Canada, this has to be like putting together the plan, how to deal with a temporary foreign worker and labor market impact assessment has to be part of your HR strategy in coming days. Thank you for this opportunity. Have a good day.